What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what just came out associated to the company itself, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with that, let's get right to it. Market's been open 8 minutes. It is up 1.67%. So it is recovering fairly well from yesterday's crazy unjustified sell-off. So that's always plagued NIO, geopolitical issues and whatever else. So obviously that is why we are where we are for price point, because NIO actually does produce a shit ton of vehicles, pardon for my French, but I brought this up in the past. NIO, in comparison to any other EV, is probably the most discounted now, with the exception of probably Polestar, because they're just getting absolutely murdered in the market. But in NIO's case, the PS ratio is 1.3 and the future is 1.1. So hopefully things get better on a geopolitical stance. I think there was a lot of optimism roughly about 3 weeks ago. And so that's actually what gave NIO the green light to kind of freely move back into the fives and stay there. A lot of strong support coming from institutions. So hopefully that does revert back or whatever else. So right now, with the market just open about 10 minutes, you don't see any transactions above $100,000 so far today. So it is kind of quiet for that. And plus you can kind of see from the volume, but there was a PR that came out as well as a 6K, and ultimately it's just for a shareholder meeting. So as you can kind of see right here, it was slated for June the 25th. So I kind of highlighted the necessary stuff. So in order for you to vote for these three proposed items right here, you do have to be a holder as of May the 24th. So if you do buy next week, going into even up to June 25th, the shareholder meeting, you're not really able to vote on these three things, which in my opinion, you're not really missing out on much. So it's just the very standard stuff. So directors, looks like to re-elect the following retired non-executive directors of the company, and then for the accounting firm. So in my opinion, nothing really crazy, like I said. So yeah, you can buy some additional shares to have more voting power, but nothing really, I'm not really interested in any of those points. It goes over ADRs and everything that you need to be aware of for that as well. So moving on though, shorts are increasing 1.76 million shares. Majority of that was done during pre-market. 13.9% of the free float is being shorted. That works out to be 183.85 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average 1.37% and utilization 77.07. It is interesting, just wanted to bring this up, the fact that when NIO does go up, you do see shorts just naturally return. They are very, I don't want to say very afraid, but they, I think a lot of people do realize that NIO is discounted. And so ultimately it can, once there is more of a correction in the broader market, it can actually go up pretty significantly. So especially with their numbers right around the corner, roughly, was it a week and a half or something like that, I feel like that will do the exact same thing as the last numbers, cause a nice 20-30% kind of adjustment in NIO's case, assuming it's correct, of course. So let me know your thoughts on that. One thing as well, I just wanted to bring this up. So it's talking on the ET5 has been, for the most part, pretty much sold out within a day. So I think that's generally a very positive thing, shows that there's a lot of demand out there. And this is, I think, equating to roughly $46,000 US. So for something to be valued at that price and it be kind of sold out straight away, I see that as extremely optimistic. Moving on though, so this is information from yesterday. I don't want to hit refresh because it'll kind of adjust for today. But yesterday there was 4.92 million in calls, 4.11 in puts, and 49% of all the options being done yesterday were optimistic and bullish, which once again is fairly good stuff. Just to hit refresh right here, you do see kind of similar stuff yesterday, so nothing really crazy. Still 49% of all the options being done is optimistic. And one thing as well, it looks like it is expected that June the 6th for their earnings. Just wanted to bring this up, especially with it roughly at $4.81, so it is starting to pull down slightly. This is the open interest. So going into the next couple of weeks, you do see somewhat of a wall at 550 and 6. So NIO might potentially struggle with getting above 550. That's dependent on good data area and everything like that. So usually market makers like to protect these very, very tightly. So yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. These are some of the transactions that have been occurring on the dark pool. So dark pool has been very, very popular, linked to larger institutions as well as shorting. One thing as well I just wanted to share with you right here. So this is the latest Elliott Wave technicals. So it does have a pivot point of $4.53. So for as long as NIO is above that, then it is still anticipated to get between that $6.60 and $7 range. If it does break below that, then this is where it is anticipated to hit the high threes. So NIO is going to be very volatile. You can tell based on the fib levels once I go over that in a second. And while I'm actually on here, latest analyst ratings, last one was done 8 days ago, 770, and that was BOCOM International BOCOM, and that was Angus, who has a 67% success rating. So pretty good stuff for that. And then prior to that, $9, $10.40 price target. Citi, Jeff, who has a 36% success rating. So overall, pretty good stuff. And while I'm on here, latest Morningstar report, I don't believe they've actually updated the fair market value because I think this was the same as last time, but $9.10 is what is shown based on the assets as the fair value. If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as everything I just mentioned and more, take a look at Interactive Brokers, link in the description below and also the comments. But getting right to it, moving on from here, let's go over the actual technicals. So with it at $4.82, it is exactly on this R1, which right now is a very strong support, and it's kind of staring off of a virtual cliff, because if it does break below that, then this is where potentially it could touch this pivot point, thus breaking down even what I mentioned from the Elliott Wave technicals. So NIO is extremely volatile. I think a lot of us generally know that right now. So when you are investing in NIO, you just have to be very comfortable with that and just think bigger picture. Of course, EVs and whatever aren't for everyone because, like I said, the volatility, but one way to really hedge with that is options. So I know I bring that up every single video, but I highly recommend you guys learning options if you guys haven't already. So either selling covered calls, selling puts, just to collect some additional premiums. So throughout the rest of the day and going into next week, just watch for this R1 to hold. So $4.82. So something to kind of consider. But on the actual chart itself, it is flirting with that 50-day moving average. Stochastic, you do see it considered oversold. So it is at 22, as well as the momentum shows number of retail investors have been getting out. So the technicals, like I said, and as you can kind of see from the fib levels, it is breaking down somewhat, but hopefully institutions will be paying attention to it because of the value aspect to that. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with NIO? And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the Mag 7. So a pretty kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.